Hello everyone and welcome to Section 3 in Photoshop Workspaces. In this lecture we're going to talk about the Essentials workspace. So let's go into Photoshop here. I'm in the welcome page in Photoshop, so I'm going to click on Create New. And I'm going to select the default Photoshop size. And I want you to name this file Essentials Workspace. Hit OK for me. And then what I want you to do is go to File, Save As, and we're going to save this on the desktop. And I'm going to give this a 01 before Essential Workspace so that it will stay at the top of your desktop. Easy to find. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Photoshop Workspaces and look for Essentials. So we're going to go to Window, Workspace, and you can see we're already on Essentials. So this is the default setting when you open up Photoshop for the first time. You will see Essentials as the default workspace. Okay, so what I want to show you here is if I just hit Tab for a second. Okay, so what Tab's going to do is that's going to hide all your workspace tools or panels. So all these boxes here are panels. Okay. So they all hold different information. So if I go to Window and you look at all these options here, right? These are all different tools that you can use in Photoshop. So the idea behind this is showing you the tab is you can hide everything and you can customize the Essentials workspace to whatever you want. So you can see out of the box they have layers, learn, libraries, notes, and properties. And then options and tools, and this is all default. So you have properties, adjustment, learn, libraries, layers, channels, paths, layer comps, notes, and then more history, actions, info, brush settings, brushes, layer comps, and notes, which is what I'm on right now. So if I click here, I can hit close. And I can close that. And so you can see when I do that, it's still gonna show everything that it normally shows. But here's the other thing you can do with these menus here in the workspace, is if you click on this little arrow here, you can collapse this down. So if you're working on one monitor, you're gonna wanna collapse these down so you have more space to work in your workspace, because it gets kind of crunched with all the different tools that they throw out there. What I recommend doing, if you can do it, is get another monitor. That way you can put the tools on another screen, and then you can have the canvas with your main toolbar here and the canvas right here, and then you can have layers and everything else on another monitor to make it easier to use. Okay, so that is the Essentials workspace. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next lecture. Alright, welcome back. So in this lecture we're going to talk about 3D Workspace. So let's go to create a new document, and we're going to label this 02 3D Workspace. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. And what I want you to do is do File, Save As, and we're going to do 02.3D Workspace. Save, and there you go. So now when I come in here, I'm going to go to Window. In the previous lecture we collapsed the panels, right? So one way to get everything back the way it was before is to click on Reset Essentials. So now you can see that this is what we were working on in the previous video. Now if I go to Workspace and I go to 3D, it's going to change everything again to that preset. So basically these different workspaces are presets of tools that you would use if you were doing the Essentials, 3D, graphic and web, motion, painting, and photography. Okay, so the gist of it is here is we have 3D, so we can create a new 3D object, layers, channels, okay, then we have properties, history, brush settings, brushes, clone source, character, paragraph, tool presets, and libraries. And then over here you can see we have the normal toolbar with all our main tools here. And we have a timeline down here, which you can't really see because it's kind of hiding. Let's see if I can bring that up a little bit. Right now I'm going to close it, but so if I go back in here and I go to Workspace and I reset, then it's going to bring it back. Okay, now, so that is the 3D workspace. All right, I'll see you in the next lecture. Thanks for watching. All right, welcome back. So in this lecture, we're going to talk about graphic and web workspace. So let's go over to Photoshop. If you're not already there, click on New, Create New. We're going to label this 03 Graphic and Web Workspace. And hit OK. And let's go to Window, go to Workspace, and click on Graphic and Web. And so you can see here we have our main toolbar on the left. And then on the right here we have Character, Paragraph, Glyphs, Properties, Libraries, Layer Comps, and then Layers. And then here we have History, Color, and Swatches. Now we can expand this out so you can actually see the different tools here. And like I said in the previous lectures, I recommend getting another monitor if you can, so you can move these tools over to another monitor so you have the complete workspace here. Because essentially it looks like this when you do that. And then you'd have the tools over there. Now you would probably want to keep this tool bar in the same window because you're always using these tools, you know. Unless you know the keyboard shortcuts, but you're still going to need this toolbar here. Okay, so that is the graphic and web workspace. Now, the one thing I want you to do before we go here is hit File and Save As. And we're going to save this as 03 Graphic and Web Workspace. Okay, so that's the graphic and web workspace. I'll see you in the next lecture. Thanks for watching. All right, welcome back. So in this lecture, we're going to talk about the motion workspace. So let's head over to Photoshop and click on Create New. And I'm going to label this 04 Motion Workspace. I'm going to hit OK. Let's go to File and Save As. And we're going to do 04 Motion Workspace. Hit Save. Now what I'm going to do is go to Window, go to Workspace, and let's click on Motion. And so you can see down here we have a timeline where we can create a video timeline or a frame animation. And then over here, if I expand this out, we have History, Action, Properties, Brush Settings. A little Now what you could do is you could bring these up here so that it's a little more even, and then you're not taking up so much real estate when you're trying to edit this. Because really the most important thing when you're doing anything in Photoshop is having a lot of access to the canvas, because that's your main focal point. The tools are very important, don't get me wrong, but this is very important as well. So we have History, Actions, Properties, Character, Paragraph, Clone Source, Brush Settings, and Brushes. And then we have Histogram, Info, Libraries, Adjustments, Layers, and then Channels. And we also have 3D. So this will give you the ability to create a new 3D object, and then you can select the layers, etc. with that. So, like I said, it's imperative that you have your tools organized so you know where everything is and you know what does what. And this is more of a layout course than anything, but that is the motion workspace. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next lecture. All right, welcome back. So in this lecture, we're going to talk about the painting workspace. So let's head over to Photoshop, click on Create New, and we're going to type in 05 Painting Workspace. I'm going to hit OK. We're going to go right to File and Save As, and we're going to do 05 Painting Workspace. Okay, I'll hit Save. I'm going to zoom out here. And so you can see right now the workspace that we're on is motion from the previous video. So I'm going to click on painting. And what that's going to do is change our layout, our workspace, to the specific tools for painting. So we have, and I'm going to move these up so you can see them. So we have history, clone source, libraries, brush settings, tool presets, swatches, navigator, and brushes. Then we have layers, channels, and paths. And I know I keep repeating myself, but again, I recommend getting another monitor and putting the main tools here in another screen. That way you have the space. Now I'll show you how that looks right now without showing you the other monitor. But you can see this is all the spaces you have when you do that. And I can just drag it in a little bit so you can see it. But I can move around this and the other monitor so that you have more space. Okay, so when I'm editing or doing whatever, you see how much space I have now to work. And really that's how it's intended. You know, like when you're writing something on a notebook, you have the whole workspace. You don't have to put your pen on the workspace. So that's the only thing that I recommend is dual monitors. That is the main thing that I always focused on, was getting dual monitors, because I saw what the restrictions were when you only have one. If you only have one, that's fine. Let's reset painting so it locks back in. Now you can see that you can shrink these down, okay? So you can get the workspace you need if you only have one monitor. The only thing is I would keep the layer menu open at all times, because this is your main tool. The layer menu is the most important tool, I believe, in Photoshop, because it's the core of what Photoshop is, and that's layers. Okay? So that is the painting workspace. I'll see you in the next lecture. Thanks for watching. Alright, welcome back. So in this lecture, we're going to talk about the photography workspace. So let's head over to Photoshop, our favorite program. Click on Create New, and I'm going to do 06 Photography Workspace. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to go to File, Save As, and we're going to do 06 Photography Workspace. Okay. And what I'm going to do is go to Window, we're going to go to Workspace, and click on Photography. So you can see all the tools that they have here. And if I expand this out, they have History, Actions, Properties, Info, Color, Clone Source, Character, Paragraph Style, Character Style, Tool Presets, 3D, and we have a timeline here. Then we have histogram, navigator, libraries, adjustments, styles, layers, channels, and paths. Okay. And then you also have the main toolbar over here, which is the most commonly used toolbar panel of any tool in Photoshop, because this has all the main tools here. So you can see they have actions. All the items here that are checked are the main tools for the photography workspace. Okay? So that's the photography workspace. I'll see you in the next lecture. Thanks for watching. Alright, welcome back. So in this lecture, we're going to talk about how to reset the workspace. So let's go to Photoshop, click on Create New, and we're going to do 07 Reset Workspace. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Workspace. We're going to go to Painting for this example. And I'm going to open up a whole bunch of random tools here. Okay, so I'll just bring it like that. Bring gloves in here. I'm just going to make a mess. Okay, so bring that over here. Let's just say that you have kind of a wild project that you're working on. This happens from time to time. And you just got stuff everywhere, right? And you're working on a painting project. Now, obviously you wouldn't have it in the middle of the canvas, but you can put it over here, and then I can bring all these tools over there as well. Let's just say that you want to get rid of these tools. You just want to reset it back to the defaults. Okay, so let me just build up this example real quick, and I'll show you how to do that. This is more of a review because I've shown you a few times, but again, the key to learning anything in Photoshop is repetition. Okay? I've used this software for 20 years. I have a lot of repetition, but you can have the same repetition and be just as good as I am with the software. So if I click on this is going to expand it out, right? So you can see we don't have a lot of space to work with here, but let's just say that you needed all these tools and you had to have everything open because of the project requirements, right? So you go to work, you do everything you need to do, and you wipe the sweat from your brow even though you shouldn't be sweating working in air conditioning. I hope you're in air conditioning if it's warm. If it's cold, I hope you have heat. If you go to Window and you go to Workspace, you can just click on Reset Painting. And what that's going to do is it's going to reset the painting workspace to the default. So this is the default right here. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 11 tools, give or take. Because there may be a couple in the actual panels that you can't see. That's really the easiest way to do it. Now the other thing you can do is if you don't want people messing with it, right? You can lock the workspace so we can't move it. Okay? And what this does is it keeps it stationary. You can expand it out, okay, but I can't move it. So I can drag it to the left, but I can't get it to the point where, so I'm going to check that real quick and then we'll again. So let's reset it again. So you can see what the value is here. You can play around with the tools and see which way you want to set things and then reset it if you don't like it and then start over. Okay, so that is the reset workspace. So I'll see you in the next lecture. Thanks for watching. Alright, welcome back. So in this lecture we're going to talk about the new workspace. This is an exciting lecture because it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's click on Create New. And I'm going to do 08 New Workspace. Hit OK. And I'm going to hit File, Save As. And we're going to do 08 New Workspace. Okay, we'll hit Save. And what we're going to do is go to Window. And let's go to New Workspace. So let's do this. Let's do Film. Actually, let's do Video. We'll call it Video. So let's save that. So you can see we have video set up here. And what you can do is if you click on the check marked panels, these will disappear. Okay, so we can leave options here or we can get rid of that. I prefer to keep this here so that you have kind of a, and we want to keep tools too. So here, let's open up this panel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this. Okay, and I'm going to close the tab group. Same here. Close and close. There you go. Okay, so now we have a default video workspace. Okay, so right now we don't have anything open except for options and tools. So one thing that you want to have for video is a timeline. So we can add the timeline, and we also want to have layers. So you can have layers and you can have a timeline. If that's all you want, then you can do that. You could also do color. Let's see what else is in there you can add. Swatches we have. Navigator we don't really need. Paths, channels and paths are fine. Layers, that's fine. I really like to make the layers panel the tallest panel, because what it does is when you start stacking multiple layers here, so if I go, I don't have to do this, but I'm just going to give you an example. You see how quickly that can fill up? Okay, you don't want to be scrolling. If you have 100 layers, you don't want to be scrolling till Tuesday. Okay, you want to keep it, the workflow simple. I'm going to click on Don't Show Again. It's going to say delete the selected layer. So it's not going to prompt this when you delete a layer. Okay? Just so you know what that is. So that's why I keep the layers panel as tall as I can, or stretch it vertically as much as I can, because of how many things that go in the layer menu. Like there's a lot of layers that you can add in there. So I would say the other thing you can put in here is actions. So actions, what those are is you can record an action. So if you create a box and then you give it a color and then you add text to it and you want to do that multiple times, you would record it and then you would hit play, and you could play that in any layer that you have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add actions to the right next to swatches. So you can do that, and what I recommend with that is dragging it down a little bit so you can see what you're doing there along with the layers here. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Again, this is a custom workspace, so you can customize this to whatever your project needs are. Whatever tools you need, you can customize it to that, and that's the great thing about creating a workspace of your own, is you can customize it to what you want, and there you go. So we made a video workspace. It looks pretty cool. It's pretty clean and simple, but again, it makes it easy for you to figure out things. Now let's save this, because I don't know why. Okay, I did save it. All right, let me just save as and just go over that just so it's saved. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next lecture. All right, welcome back. So in this lecture, we're going to talk about how to delete a workspace. Now in the previous lecture, I created a beautiful workspace. I'm going to click on Create New here, and we're going to do 09 Delete Workspace, or Delete My Beautiful Workspace. We'll just call it Delete Workspace. So what I'm going to do is, you can see that we still have my beautiful video workspace in there. However, let's say for some reason you don't like my workspace, which is very possible. It hurts my feelings, but it's okay. I'm only kidding. So if I go to Workspace, we have to have video checked. We're going to click on Delete Workspace, and then it's going to ask you which workspace do you want to delete. So video is active, so actually we can't even delete it because it's active. So what I can do, it won't even let me delete all custom workspaces. So let's hit cancel. And what I'm going to do is go to Workspace and go to Essentials. Then I'm going to go to Window and Workspace and click on Delete Workspace. And we're going to select all custom workspaces, or you can just select video. We'll hit delete. It's going to ask you, do you really want to delete the workspace video? Yes, I do. So now it's been deleted. So if I go to Window and Workspace, now it's not there. So you can tell we've deleted my beautiful workspace. I'm very sad, but I'll survive. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next lecture. Alright, welcome back. So in this lecture, we're going to talk about the keyboard shortcuts and menus just briefly. So if I click on Menu and go to Workspace, I can click on Keyboard Shortcuts and Menus, and all that's going to do is take you to the Keyboard Shortcuts and Menus window, so you can look through the tools for the keyboard shortcuts and also for menus. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because it's in the Workspace area, so I don't want to just graze over it like it's not important. It's very important because this will show you the keyboard shortcuts for the menus and for all the tools. Very important stuff. So, thanks for watching. See you in the next lecture. Alright, welcome back. So in this lecture we're going to go over the lock workspace. So let's create a new document. We're going to call this lock workspace. We are not going to save this document, so you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to go to graphics and web, graphic and web, and click on workspace, and we're going to lock the workspace. Essentially what this does is it will not allow you to move the tools around. You can drag it to the left and to the right. You can do that, but you cannot do this, which is why they have this. You can't do this. Okay? So if I went here and I did lock workspace, I wouldn't really take that back. Let me reset this. Okay? Now let me lock it. Okay, now you can see I can't drag it anywhere. That's what the lock is about. You can still pull the panels left and right. They don't have that part locked. They just have the moving part locked. Okay, so that's lock workspace. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next lecture.